Hey, Maria. Are you going to be working a night shift at that cleaning job of yours again today?
Yes, Lucio. If it's dinner you're worried about, then I put it in the fridge, so just put it in the oven if you want to eat.
That's not what I'm talking about. It's a problem that you're always working night shifts because it's simply unnatural for a wife to be doing such a thing. That cleaning company of yours you work at, surely there are also jobs during the day, right? Why don't you just stop working night shifts and switch to doing day job shifts instead?
Oh, why should I do that? You can earn more money working night shifts than by working day shifts since there's a bonus. I don't think this is the case, but you're not making fun of my job again, are you?
Well, I did just get scolded for doing that at our last family gathering. Our son Glauco getting mad at me was especially humiliating, which is why I don't intend on bringing it up again.
It's fine if that's the case, but I still can't get over how you told me that if you've got that time to clean for someone else, then clean the house, will you? I mean, I would if it made money, but it doesn't.
Yeah, whatever. I still don't think I like my wife cleaning for someone else. Actually, I don't care if they get mad at me anymore. I'll say whatever I want to say because I'm the husband and pillar of his family. I don't like how you're always working night shifts.
Huh? So now you're not just making fun of my job, but you're also making fun of night shifts as well? And what do you mean you're the pillar of this family, Lucio? Where did you even get that idea?
I'm the husband, and the husband is the pillar of the family. And I'm not making fun of you. This is a valid complaint. To think that our son Glauco is about to get married, yet there's still one person in the family who has a different schedule than everyone else. Seriously, do you know how annoying it is to see you go off to work every night just as I'm about to go to bed? Have you ever thought about what Glauco's new wife Nadia is going to think when she comes here and sees you doing night shifts every day? You're surely going to be looked down upon by Nadia if she finds out that her mother-in-law works night shifts as a cleaner.
No, Nadia isn't the kind of person who would judge others based on something so superficial. And what are you even talking about? I never heard that Nadia was going to be living with us.
Well, she is. Now you know, I guess.
But this is the first time anyone's told me this.
I mean, our son Glauco is our only child, and he still lives with us at our house. So it isn't only natural that his wife would come and live with us once they get married? Which means that you're going to have to live with your daughter-in-law. And I'm not going to have any of it if you two start fighting. Also, if you work night shifts, there's going to be a possibility that you're going to make Nadia do all the housework that needs to be done during the day.
Seriously? That's the main point of your argument? Why don't you and Glauco do the housework if you're so worried about Nadia having to do everything?
No! Housework is a woman's job. Jesus, Maria, do you have no common sense?
Huh? Wow. So that's how you're going to be. Seriously, you're the only person in this family who still thinks like that. This is 2023, Lucio, not the 60s. Besides, you don't even understand why I'm working night shift in the first place. Trying to argue with you makes my head hurt.
Huh? What are you talking about? I know it's 2024. Don't make fun of me.
My shift is about to begin, so I'll end the conversation here.
Hey, wait. I'm not done scolding you, Maria. Mother, is it true that you and Dad agreed to our marriage on a basis that we're going to be living with you?
Huh? Did your father tell you that?
Yeah, he did. You see, Father sent a letter to Nadia's house titled How to Be a Housewife. It's some sort of rule book he made for Nadia when she moves in here.
What? Seriously?
Sorry, Mom, but we don't intend on living with you guys, at least for the time being. I mean, I'm an only child. So me and Nadia agree that we'll probably have to move in with you guys at some point when you guys get older. But we're not ready to do that just yet, and we want some time for the two of us.
Don't believe what your father tells you. I never thought that you guys were going to be living with us anyways, because I heard about how you two got married and how you've already prepared a new house. Although your father should have heard about it as well. As usual, it seems to have flown completely over his head.
Maybe he forgot about it?
Yes, maybe he did. But knowing your father, it never went in his head in the first place. Please tell Nadia that your father is just causing trouble on his own, and at least I don't intend on making you guys move in with us. Tell her not to worry and that I'm sorry for my husband's actions. I'll do something about your father myself.
Understood. I'm counting on you then, Mother.
Hello, Lucio. There is something I want to talk to you about.
What is it?
It seems that you sent Glauco's wife a strange letter?
Oh, the one titled How to Be a Housewife, right? Those are my conditions that she has to agree to if she wants to live here.
What in the world do you think you're doing? Do you want to get in the way of your son's marriage or something? First of all, a title like that shouldn't be written by a grown man in his 50s. I was actually quite disturbed when I heard you wrote that. And second of all, Glauco and Nadia aren't going to be living with us. I already told you that they've already found a new house and that they're going to be moving there once they get married, right?
What? Of course they found a house they're going to be moving into once they get married. This house. And why in the world would I want to get in the way of my son's marriage? You're the one who's getting in the way of their marriage by working night shifts all the time. I'm telling you, this is going to cause problems between you and Nadia. At this rate, she's going to be one of those wives that looks down on their mother-in-law, and that's never any good.
I already told you that Nadia isn't the kind of person that would judge someone based on something that's superficial. Besides, when did we agree that Glauco and Nadia would be moving in with us after they got married? Because that's what you seem to be telling them.
I mean, it's obvious, so there's no need to say it, right? Of course they're going to be moving in with us. Oh, I get it now. Nadia's already started looking down on you. And this is your way of getting revenge and bullying her in return, isn't it?
Huh? Honestly, I'm impressed at your imagination, Lucio. If only you could use it for something a bit more useful. Who knows, you might make a good short story author or something.
Huh? What in the world are you talking about? Writing short stories isn't a proper profession, Maria. Anyways, if they move in with us, me and Glauco are going to find out about the tensions that you already have between you two. So you're trying to get them to not move in with us no matter what? This is why the quarrels between women are so hard to deal with.
What in the world are you talking about, Lucio?
I guess it can't be helped. You leave me no choice but to resort to my secret weapon. The daughter-in-law that starts looking down on her mother-in-law is a problem too, of course. But the start of all of this mess is you refusing to quit your night shifts. I don't want to deal with the two of you fighting in the house. So leave.
What? Are you being serious right now?
Yes. That also means I'm divorcing you. Don't consider this place your home anymore.
You're confusing me more and more, Lucio. You know that we're renting this apartment that we're currently living in, right? And of course, you also know who's the one paying for the rent, right? If you divorce me, then who's going to pay for the rent?
What? That's what you were worried about? I could pay 200 euros a month as well, you know.
Huh? 200 euros a month?
The rent for this apartment is 1,200 euros a month, right? Glauco pays 1,000 euros a month while you pay 200 euros a month, right? It won't make much of a difference whether I have to pay 200 euros a month or not, don't you think? Also, the housework isn't going to be a problem as well. Nadia is going to be moving in with us, so she'll take your place and do it for us when you're gone.
Wow, I just don't have any words anymore. I can't even bother to argue with you anymore since you seem to not understand a word I say. Fine, if you want to get divorced, then let's get divorced.
I see. All right, I'll get the divorce papers from the city hall. So could you pack your stuff while I'm doing that? So you can leave this house as soon as possible, you know? Mother, Dad said you two were going to get divorced.
Yeah, what he says is true this time. You see, I just couldn't find the motivation to argue with him anymore.
What happened?
Well, you see, he has a ton of misunderstandings and he keeps deciding things on his own as if all that he says is true. He even said that he didn't tell me about you guys moving in with us since it's so obvious there was no need to tell me in the first place. Not only that, but he thinks me and Nadia are fighting now for some reason and says that it's my fault for not quitting my night shifts.
What?
Yeah, and you won't believe this, but he even thinks that the rent we have to pay for this house is 1,200 euros a month.
Huh? Where did he get that idea?
I know, right? He thinks that I pay 200 euros a month and that you pay 1,000 euros a month.
Huh?
Oh, and he even said that the housework isn't going to be a problem since once Nadia moves in, he's going to make her do it in my place.
Seriously?
There were a lot of other crazy things he told me, but I can't even bother to explain them to you anymore. I'll just send you and Nadia screenshots of the conversation we had by text later.
Looks like you had to put up with a lot, Mom.
That's an understatement, but thanks. You said that you and Nadia would be moving to your new house at the end of next month, right?
Yeah.
I plan on terminating the contract of our current house at the same time your dad and I get divorced. Sorry, but could you and Nadia move to this new house of yours a bit earlier than you had previously planned?
I understand. But still, I wonder what Dad intends on doing from now on. I mean, no matter what Dad says, the truth is that you pay for all the rent plus my living expenses. Without you, this family wouldn't be able to support itself financially.
I gave up trying to explain it to him. Not only does he not understand a word I say, even when I explain it to him very carefully, but he also acts as if he's the one who's right all of the time. I don't think a person like that will ever understand until they're faced with the reality.
Yep. You know Dad best after all. I think you should do whatever you think is best, Mother. Just know that me and Nadia are on your side.
Thank you. All right, I'm going to leave now. You're at that one day job of yours now, right? I just turned in the divorce papers earlier and I just got done packing right now, so I'm going to leave now.
Oh, finally. You know, I was actually starting to get a little impatient and thought of kicking you out by force.
Is that so? I mean, I had to find a new place to live and sign the necessary contracts as soon as my night shift ended, so it couldn't be helped.
Yeah, whatever. What about Nadia? When is she going to be moving in?
I don't know the details, but apparently she's going to be moving around the same time I leave.
Oh, so that means she's going to be here by tomorrow.
What? I don't know what you're talking about, but I'm going to be canceling the contract of this house, so no one's going to be moving in by tomorrow.
What? What do you mean you're canceling the contract?
I mean, I'm the legal owner of this house, and if I'm going to be leaving, then it's only natural that I cancel the contract, don't you think? I already explained this to you several times, didn't I?
Wait, hold on. If you really are the legal owner or something, then just let Glauco be the legal owner instead. Do the necessary paperwork with the landowners and make it happen.
That's impossible.
Come on, Maria. Do you understand what you're saying right now? The three of us are supposed to live in this house from now on. You can't just cancel the contract because of your selfishness. Is it all right with you if me and your son become homeless?
But I heard that Glauco and Nadia already found a new place to live. It looks like you have a lot of misunderstandings, but you do know that Glauco proposed to Nadia because he was relocated to another region at his job, right? They're going to be moving to near Glauco's new workplace once they get married. Which means that the 1,000 euros a month he was kind enough to give us for our living expenses until now will also be gone.
Huh? What do you mean 1,000 euros a month for living expenses? You mean that he pays 1,000 euros a month to the rent, right?
That's the next thing I wanted to tell you. I pay for all of the rent here.
What? You were paying 1,200 euros a month and not 200?
You've got that wrong as well. The rent is 2,000 euros a month, not 120 euros a month.
2,000 euros a month?
All of this is your fault, you know. The fact that me and Glauco have to step up like this.
Huh? What do you mean it's my fault?
The fact that your company went bankrupt 3 years ago can't be helped, and it wasn't your fault. But after that, you seem to have zero motivation to go out and find another job. All you did ever since then was work one-day jobs when you felt like it. You would earn 800 euros in a good month, but only 300 euros on bad months. We were only able to rent this house that cost 2,000 euros a month in the first place because both of us had proper jobs at the time. Then you lost your job, but for some reason you refused to move. Since you had no intention of finding a proper job again, the only choice we had was for me to work harder than before. Do you understand? That was the situation at the time, so I told the company about it and made a request asking them to let me work night shifts, which pay well. Even after all that, we were still only barely able to get by, which is why Glauco gave us 1,000 euros a month from his own salary. I was really thankful for his help, but I was also ashamed I had to rely on my own son since my husband was such a mess.
I didn't understand much of what you said, but does that mean I'm going to be living in this house on my own from now on?
No. Like I said, I'm canceling the contract on this house, so you need to leave by the end of next month. Unless, of course, you want to buy it for yourself, although, considering how much money you make a month, I think that's impossible.
But, so, all of you are just going to leave me? Why in the world did it come to this?
I can't bother to explain myself to you anymore, so why don't you think of why this happened yourself?
Tell me!
No, I'm done explaining things to you all the time, since it clearly has no effect.
So you're just going to ignore the demands of your husband? I'm the pillar of this family, and you have to do what I say.
But I just turned in our divorce papers to the city hall. You're not my husband anymore, Lucio. And you definitely weren't the pillar of this family, especially these last few years.
But...
Fine, I'll give you a hint as to what was the cause of all of this.
A hint? Tell me!
Delusional princess. Goodbye.
Huh? What do you mean, delusional princess? That hint is too hard to understand. Give me another one!
The first thought that came to me after I got divorced was, I should have done this sooner. I knew that once my son got married and left the house, we wouldn't be able to maintain our current lifestyle, as he wouldn't be able to give 1,000 euros a month to us anymore. I talked with Lucio about this and tried to convince him into moving into a cheaper apartment, but he seemed to like this house a lot and refused to move out. What happened next, you already know. After I canceled the contract, my husband now had nowhere to go and was also practically unemployed. It seems that even he understood that he was in trouble and that he had to do something. So he went to the job hunting center to find a job. It seems he found a job that came with housing, but apparently that personality of his still hasn't changed. He keeps saying these extremely delusional things that, at best, confuse everyone. And he even tries to get the younger employees who've been working there longer than him to do what he says. Because of this, no one wants to be anywhere near him, and so he spends his free time being alone and lonely.
Thank you for watching. Please subscribe and hit the like button. See you next time.
Mindy, I'm gonna have to head out here soon for a little while today. I'm sorry. We're just getting on with our honeymoon today, and now I have to cancel my plans with you for the whole day.
Huh? What's going on?
Man, I really want to stay here with you, but a co-worker that came to town to help out the company for a little while has caused some major troubles with one of our customers. And I'm being asked to head out and help him, because management thinks I'll be able to clear things up.
What? But why do you have to be the one to go in and do that? Aren't there plenty of other people that can do that while you're out of the office? It's our honeymoon after all now.
Huh?
It would make sense if you were a part of the management team, but you don't even have anything to do with that other coworker or with the customer he's working with. So just tell them to call someone else and that you're in the middle of something important here.
Oh, right. Well, the customer he's working with now is someone I've known for a long time, so We're thinking that if by having somebody recognizes be there to help smooth things out, it will calm down a little about the trouble. That's at least what management's thinking. I kind of agree with them, since I've known him for so long and in the past he was a customer of mine.
Is that so?
But listen to this. As in, I'm sorry for doing this in the middle of our little vacation. I'm having you do a 3-hour-long spa and massage course in the hotel.
What? Are you kidding?
At first, when I asked about getting a spot for today, the hotel told me there were no spots open, but just a few minutes after that, they called telling me that a 1 p.m. appointment was canceled and opened up for you. So I put you down for that time. I should give you something to look forward to. With all the cosmetic treatments that are included in the spa course, you'll be all fresh and ready for you when I crawl into bed with you tonight.
Awesome! Thank you so much. At least now I can feel a bit more forgiving towards you since I have something to keep me busy.
Well, with all of what I said, I'll be gone for the day, but we'll try to get back here by tonight. I'm sorry again.
Don't worry about it. Just make sure that tomorrow you'll be up for all kinds of adventures with me. I want us to go parasailing at the beach and then go to some of the nightclubs downtown together.
All right. I'll be back in a little while then.
Have a safe trip.
Hey, where are you right now? You have some nerve for doing all this when we had plans for just the two of us to have that secret wedding. Hey, I just had a good look at your Instagram. Canceling our wedding to go on vacation without me is screwed up. What are you thinking? We have been waiting so long for this chance, and now you've blown it. At least reply to me in some way. Hey, there's definitely a man with you right now, huh? I saw that picture you posted with your arms around a huge-looking man. I'm gonna divorce you and get all your money after this. Just you wait.
Huh? What is all of this? I planned to give you a call or text just after finishing the spa and massage course, but what is all of this about canceling on a wedding and going on a vacation? And another man? Divorce? And getting all of my money? Huh? Now that I think about it, you and I had our wedding yesterday, right? And just after that, you and I headed out on our honeymoon right away. And that wedding wasn't just the two of us there, right? We had all of our family there as well as friends. Even people from our jobs came to see us get married. What are you going on about, Keith? I hope this is some kind of sick prank and none of what you're saying is serious stuff. I'm sorry for bugging you all of a sudden. I'd like to ask and see if this is really Keith's wife, Mindy, on the other side of this phone number I'm texting. Huh? This is Mindy. Hi, my name is Stacy. You're Stacy? I'm sorry, but this is the first time I've ever heard your name. And where did you happen to find my phone number? I'll get to all of that here in just a second. To start, I want to apologize to you for everything that might hurt you with the story I'm about to tell you. Okay. What's the story? Well, I was able to get your phone number from an old friend of yours that you went to college with. And right now, that old friend of yours is a coworker of mine. Oh, so that's how you've run into them. I normally would never ask for another person's phone number without their permission, but due to the urgency of the situation, I had to ask them repeatedly for it. So please don't blame your old friend for giving your number out. Okay. I'm sure that once I hear more of the story and about whatever urgent situation is at hand, I'll understand things even more. But at the moment, I'm okay with you having my number. Well then, let me get to the main story here. Well, today was supposed to be the day that Keith and I planned to get married on. Huh? Hold on a second. Keith and I only just got married to one another yesterday and had our wedding and everything. And after that, we started our honeymoon, and we're supposed to still be on it right now together. And in my case, today is the day we would have been having our wedding with one another. Huh? I'm sure there are a lot of things you'd like to say to me and to him right now, but we need to do something about this problem first. So before you start to ask more questions, just hear the rest of the story. All right, go ahead. Let's start with 2 days ago. Keith and I both took a bus and went out to Miami, and there is where we had planned on having the wedding. Miami. That's where I'm at right now. Right. But anyway, he was planning on having the wedding with me today. But then he had some things come up with his job and had to leave me for a little while to go back to his office. And so I've been left here waiting. Today, right? And so while I've been waiting all day for Keith, I had time to burn and started talking with my coworker. And while talking, I sent them a picture of Keith. They're the same person that gave me your phone number, by the way. But today was their first time actually seeing a picture of the man I'd be marrying. And after getting his name and everything from me, my coworker told me that they remember seeing a man like that getting wed to you yesterday. This is insane. Now that you mention it, that coworker of yours, she happens to be a really good friend of mine and was there at the wedding. But with something as crazy as this, I thought she would have just said something to me about it by now. I told her that I'd be getting in touch with you and said she could hold off for a bit. Right now she's pregnant. Pregnant? So this really is Jamie that we're talking about, right? Yes. She is going through some things with her pregnancy, and so she felt bad for having to tell me that she knew Keith. But I didn't want her to have to deal with all this right now, while carrying a baby. And so I said I'd handle things for all of us. So that's how we ended up here. All right then. We got a little off track there, but can we get back to how you were supposed to have a wedding with Keith today? Yeah, so to sum up pretty much everything so far, your husband is Keith, is the man I was supposed to have a wedding with today. Keith is your husband and mine. Do you understand that? Yes. When I had learned about all of this from Jamie, I hurried up and called the wedding hall and told them to cancel the wedding. Really, doing something like that is pretty bad since we were so excited to have the wedding. But to make it so that he would lose all feelings for me and not try to rekindle it, I went to the gym nearby and posted a picture of me with a really buff shirtless man. Well, so far I haven't heard anything from Keith yet about that post, but... Oh, I know. What? I think I know how this is all linking up with what Keith was going on about earlier. Were you guys supposed to be having that small wedding today around 1 or 2 in the afternoon? Yeah, 2 p.m. was supposed to be the start for us. So he must have sent me the message he was supposed to be sending to you. Huh? He sent whatever he wanted to say to me to you instead? At first, when reading through all of those messages from him, I had no clue what was going on. I was really thinking he was trying to pull a prank on me or something and would come back to the hotel room a little bit after. But after hearing your story and him still not being back, I think I have a good suspicion. I'm going to send you everything he sent to me by accident so you can be all caught up. Give me just a few seconds. Oh, okay. Please and thank you.
Mindy, I finished dealing with all those problems at work. I was able to sit down with the customer and have a good talk, as well as get things back on track for the company. Should be able to get back to the hotel in an hour or so. But still, I'm sorry this all took so long, used up a lot more time than I'd said at first.
Ah, okay. Good job today. Thank you for sending me all the screenshots of those messages he sent to you. I know that what we've both had to see from him is a lot. But the fact that he has the drive to marry 2 women and had been planning on having 2 weddings in only 2 days while on his honeymoon with one of us, well... And him and I aren't actually married yet, and he's threatening a divorce. At this point, things have gotten way too out of control. Stacy, I just got a message from Keith. Huh? Just to let you know, Keith did say that he had to go into work today, and that all went down this morning. He said something about having to deal with a customer and how he was the only one his company could rely on. I thought that was all a lie at first to go and have this wedding with you, but you haven't been with him either all day. So I'm not sure what he's been up to all day today away from the both of us. Maybe he really did have to go to work like he told you earlier then? Or maybe he's with yet another woman. But anyway, he told me he'll be coming back to the hotel in an hour. So to be here with me when he arrives, do you think that you can come and meet at the Skyloft Hotel in Miami? Let's you and I meet in the lounge on the 1st floor. I know it'll be a bit of a drive for you to come up here, but it'll help us both a lot. Sounds good. I'll come back that way now. I'll be in a pink dress waiting for you.
What the?
You're a quick runner when it comes to running away from the problems you've made.
What the hell's going on?
What's going on is exactly as you saw.
Why the hell are the two of you together? You both shouldn't know a thing about one another, right?
Did you never notice that massive group of texts you sent me when you got angry with Stacy? You were even trying to call me when you should have been trying to call her. You screwed yourself big time, Keith. That's how we both found out. Along with a couple other things that just happened to line up in our favor. I wonder if your brain short-circuited when you wanted to yell at Stacy earlier. Or maybe you're just too lazy to check which woman of yours you're texting with. Right now, the two of us would really like to have a word with you in person, Keith. But if you're not going to come here to us, then we're getting nowhere.
Why did you have to figure all this out? I had it all planned out so well.
And I plan on letting you know all about what's happened today. But first, I want to know why you wanted to get married to both me and Stacy. And within 2 days, I'm planning to have your second wedding in the same city as your honeymoon with your first wife on the same day is stupid, Keith.
I had no other choice.
Huh? No other choice?
Listen, I knew I was gonna have to throw one of you away.
That right there is not going to help you get anywhere with us.
Well, look, I knew I'd have to choose one of you to be married with for the rest of my life. But I was having a hard time choosing who. You have a lot of money and work a job that brings in even more. But Stacy, on the other hand, has a very good-looking body and knows how to work with me. And so, when thinking of who to get rid of, I became a bit, panicked. Back when I was dating you, Mindy, I ran into your parents and we talked. And while on a date with Stacy, I ran into her grandpa and talked a bit. I had all you and your families on my mind and started to think that I might just marry you both, have 2 wives.
What?
I tried my best so far. I've had to propose to 2 different women as well as pay for a wedding with both and plan out a honeymoon with both. But I had to make sure that everyone else never found out about this. So since Stacy doesn't have her parents around anymore, her and I were gonna have a quick private wedding together to get married.
Keith, can you shut up already?
Huh?
You thought you could just marry both of us? Bull crap. You are only able to have one of us legally, and you have to choose. So here we go. Choose one of us now, or say goodbye to both of us. You are not able to marry more than one person, so you have only those 2 choices.
I don't like either of those choices, though.
Hold on now. You don't have to get worked up over it anymore.
Huh?
You've chosen number 2. Saying goodbye to the both of us. That's the only choice you really ever had after what all you tried to pull.
What?
Our honeymoon is now over with.
Wait a second.
I'm going to need to call my parents now. And Stacy said she'll be calling her grandpa.
Huh?
And of course, we won't be forgetting your parents.
Without getting my take on this first?
Do you think we care about your take on this?
But come on. I want you, Stacy.
Shut the hell up, Keith.
Huh?
After all of this is over, both Stacy and I will be getting lawyers and making sure that you pay for what pain you've brought upon us.
Lawyers?
What you've done to us is not something anyone should be trying to do. And what you were going to try and do with Stacy was going to be marriage fraud, right?
You're kidding me.
Well, I'll leave the results of this up to the specialists to decide.
Stacy? I mean, Mindy.
You and I are getting a divorce with no ifs, ands, or buts.
Mindy.
After that, Keith tried to talk all of this through with Stacy, but it was all a pain in her neck, and so she just blocked him. And an hour after that, for whatever reason, we saw a security guard handling Keith and pulling him out of the women's bathroom. There was a cop car sitting out in front of the hotel, and there waited an officer ready to take him away. There was another woman in the lobby with us that told me she called the police and security on him because he was in the stall next to her and she was afraid he was going to do something to her. We heard from one of the officers that came to take him away that he had accidentally run into the women's bathroom instead of the men's when running from us. And in doing so, startled that woman we just talked to. But when she screamed for him to leave, he must have been too afraid to because of Stacy and me. Well, I don't really care about what he had to face after being taken into custody and off to the local jailhouse, but I'm sure he'd only get a fine or something after explaining himself. I was more focused on making sure that he and I got a divorce, which of course we did get to do after showing and explaining everything to my lawyer. In the divorce, Keith was also forced to pay me a settlement for cheating on me with another woman, as well as had to pay me back for any money I put into our wedding and honeymoon. Stacy did the same thing as well to Keith, so in total, he was left having to pay over $1.2 million to both of us. He was not going to be able to fight us on that, and would be going into loan hell trying to afford everything. And all of that together seems like the perfect punishment for him. I'm not sure what'll happen to him in the future, but I don't care, LOL. One great thing did come from all of this, though, in the end, and that was a very close friendship to Stacy, since we had both gone through the same troubles. Of course, there's also all of Keith's money that we got as well. That's a great thing, but I'm keeping that one a secret. Thank you for watching and listening. We hope you enjoyed the video. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe. Also, feel free to leave a comment about what you thought of the story. We look forward to seeing you at the next story.
Thank you for watching. Please subscribe and hit the like button. See you next time.
Bailey, you and I are getting a divorce. I'll send you the divorce paperwork, so make sure to hand that all in for me.
Huh? What is all of this about, Matthew? Would you cut it out with this weird joke?
This is no joke. I am being very serious about a divorce right now. I want you to please get this divorce with me right now. And I mean right now.
Hold on a second. I have no idea what's going on here. The moment that your brother's funeral was over with, you said you had things back at your family's house and left me. And now it's been a whole day of me hearing nothing from you, and now you're finally going to say something and it's about a divorce? What the heck is going on here?
Well, about my little brother Mark. I spoke with my mom and dad about him. Bailey, I'm going to get a divorce from you, and then I'm going to marry the much younger, now single wife of my dead brother.
What? Your little brother's wife? You're telling me you're going to get married to his wife, Amy? Matthew, you're not helping me understand all of this any better, you know. Her husband only just passed away, right? This has to be some kind of a sick and twisted joke now, right?
I told you this is no joke. Are you done freaking out now? Mark ended up dying in that car crash, right? And that means his wife, Amy, is now a single widow. And those two already had 2 little kids together, who are now without a father. She needs someone there to help her, right?
Wait, yeah, I'm sure things will be tough for her from here on out, but Matthew...
There's no way I can leave that single, heartbroken woman to take care of 2 kids and work a full-time job all alone. That's why I'm going to marry her and help support her young family. There also seems to be a lot of money coming in from my brother to her that he's left behind. I'm worried that a single young woman like herself wouldn't be able to defend herself from those that want to steal her money. Wouldn't it be best that I'm there to protect her? This is for Amy and her 2 kids. So, what do you think? Let's get this divorce over with.
What do I think, Matthew? Is this something that Amy herself is agreeing with? Why would she ever want to marry you when you're already married to me?
This is what my parents and I have decided on, alright? We haven't said anything to her yet, but there's no way a young woman like herself would say no to me. She happens to be in love with me already as we speak.
You're telling me that Amy, your brother's wife, has been in love with you? What the heck? This is the first time I'm hearing anything about this.
You always have been a slow one. If you'd just been looking at the way she acts when she's around me, then you'd understand how she thinks of me. I know for a dang fact that she loves me with every ounce of her heart.
Wait, there is no way that's the case. How could she be into someone like you?
Hey. You'd better stop getting so jealous, you old hag. I'm sure you're jealous of the fact that she's not only young, but has 2 kids of her own already, right?
Huh? You think I'm jealous of something like that?
You have always been a pretty useless wife to me, considering the fact that you can never get pregnant. I get that you're dying to be like her, but getting all jealous over her, is not going to help you fix your god-awful issues.
This is making no sense right now.
If you're going to start getting jealous over anything, then perhaps you should be jealous of all the women in the world that can actually make a baby. Well, anyways, I'm going to get married to Amy. She's young, she's beautiful, and there is not a single thing wrong with her. And when it comes to my little brother's money, it's all mine.
Ah, so that's what this is about then. You're really just into her for the money. That's pretty disgusting of you, if I'm being honest.
Say whatever you'd like about me, but at least I'm not the aging old hag with no children. And let me just say that my mom is totally on board with all of this. After I get married to Amy, we are going to take her kids and move back home into my parents' house. I will be able to get those stacks of money, and Amy will get herself the protection and support she needs. And as for my mom and dad, they will finally get the grandchildren they have been waiting so patiently for. This plan will leave all three parties satisfied, right? And my mom has told me there's no need for you in this family anymore. She told me that if I'm bringing a young beauty back home with me and her 2 kids, to throw you out. Recently, both my parents have been in kind of a bad mood about things. So I'm sure once I bring them some grandchildren home, those 2 will go right back to being happy parents again.
You really just love to go on and on about random crap that's wasting my time. What was that? Almost 4 minutes of you just talking there? Well, I'm glad to see that you and I being married meant absolutely nothing. And that this whole time you've probably been scheming with your parents to get rid of me for Amy.
It's your fault for never doing your job as my wife and bearing me any kids. Just know that it's over between you and I. Sign those papers, and then get the hell out of my life.
All right then. I'll give you that divorce if it's really what your whole family wants. I wouldn't want to continue being married to you anyway after hearing that mouthful. Just know that in this divorce, we'll be splitting half our properties between one another. And after that, I don't even want to bother with you anymore, so I'll refrain from making you pay me a settlement or anything. You go ahead and handle the lease on this apartment. I'll send the papers to your parents' house, and then you can hand them into the courthouse.
As long as you give me this divorce, you can do whatever you want with it. Bye-bye, you old hag. Try better to not be thrown away by the next man you meet, okay?
So that's what I know from Matthew so far. Do you have any clue what's going on here, Amy? Wait, what are you talking about, Bailey? I had no idea any of that was going on behind my back. You're telling me I'm going to have to marry my brother-in-law? No frickin' way I knew about that. Absolutely no frickin' way. I'm still having to cope with the loss of my husband right now, and yet they're talking about something as crazy as that? And that Matthew's even gone as far as to ask for a divorce from you already? This can't be happening right now. What the actual hell is going on right now? That's what I'm wondering. I guess my idiotic husband is going on some kind of crazed money hunt. Bailey, I really don't want to say this to someone like you, but I have always hated Matthew and my mother-in-law. Many times before, when I'd go to their family gatherings and events, Matthew would always try and get close to me and touch me even. His mom and dad would also laugh about it and say some of the most disgusting things sometimes. Also, my mother-in-law would always harp on about me having kids with Mark. And then when I finally had my first kid, she acted like they didn't mean much to her anyway because she wanted Matthew and you to have kids. There were times where both you and Mark would be around to get her to lay off me. But even still, I can't stand being around that woman. Amy, you don't have to be worried about telling me you hate them. I freaking hate them all as well, and it's time something was done about it. All of them are screwed in the head, and we don't have to cater to any of that. By the way, after the funeral just ended, they all started to ask me how much money Mark left behind. They were asking me if it'd be tough living on my own with 2 kids, and if I needed a new man in my life. All of it was kind of vague at the time, but it all still made me pretty upset and surprised to hear. What? Those assholes were asking you things like that at Mark's literal funeral? I am so sorry that we have to be related to them all. Related to those animals! No. You don't have to apologize for any of that. You did nothing wrong. So please, don't feel sorry about it. I just hope you understand that I will not be getting married to Matthew, no matter what. I don't need a man in my life to make things work. And if I eventually do, then I'll choose someone far more deserving of being my husband than that pig. Thank you so much for confirming that for me. All right, Amy. Now, if any of those freaks start to come to you saying things, tell them you still need time to recover from your loss and buy me some time. Buy us some time. I'm going to work on ending things once and for all between us and them. So let's cut these ties as soon as possible. Sounds great. I'll make sure to keep them at bay. And thank you so much, Bailey.
Bailey! There's a major problem. Amy ran away.
Huh? What's all of this about now, Matthew?
Today I went over to Amy's place to go see her. I thought she would have finally calmed down by now, and so I was going over to start talking about the marriage with her. But when I had gotten there, she had already moved out of the house. She took all that money from Mark and ran away from me. That witch! She also sent a message to the courthouse saying she was changing her name back to her family's name, along with her children, so that she isn't a part of our family anymore.
I don't care how much you think she ran away from you. That money she got after Mark's passing was meant for her only. You should have no problem with her taking that money because it was never yours. And as for that paperwork she filled out, changing hers and her children's names back to her family name, that was her right. Mark is no longer around, and she has every right to change her last name, as well as her kids' last names back to her parents' name.
There are a lot of problems with all of this. Tons of them. The plan was for Amy to marry me next, but instead she went and took all that money and her kids and ran away. Has there ever been as bad of a backstabbing as this in the history of man?
That plan you're talking about was something only you and your parents talked about, right? I'm sure that Amy didn't want anything to do with it, especially since her husband had just died and her brother-in-law was already talking about how he would marry her next. She knew just as well as myself that you only wanted to be with her for that money Mark would leave behind.
Don't tell me that she hated the plan. Why would she have any reason to? She knows that by marrying me, everyone can be happy. I'll be able to take care of that money for her, and her kids will be in my parents' hands. And the fact that she'd be able to move back into my parents' house with me after the marriage would be a massive help, right?
That's only a massive help for the three of you. Amy doesn't need any of your guys' help. That money she's received will go right into her bank account and can never be touched by anyone but her. And she was always the one in charge of the money in that house anyway, so she knows what she's doing. She doesn't need some stranger coming into her life telling her what to do with it. And as for her kids, she can go back to her parents' house and have the both of them help support her. She would be much better off with her own two parents instead of your mother, as they wouldn't cause her loads of stress. That woman can live an amazing life without having to marry a man like you.
No, that's not the only problem, though. Amy is in love with me. Back when we last met with one another at one of my family gatherings, she touched my arm a little. She looked so happy about it and laughed.
Are you kidding me, Matthew? There is no way her laughing like that meant she loves you. Do you have any idea about how much she hates your guts? She already hated you plenty before you started to go up and try to touch her, so when you finally did graze your arm across her like that, she was probably in shock. I bet she was laughing about it because she didn't know how to respond to that level of disgust. And the only other reason for it was probably because you're her brother-in-law and she couldn't say anything about it. That would have only caused more problems for her, so it was better to just play it all off by faking a laugh or two. Did you ever even notice that once you started to get way too close and personal to Amy, Mark or I would step in between you and her?
What? You guys were both doing that because you guys were jealous, right? Amy is younger and more beautiful than you after all.
Shut the hell up, you idiot. Why would I be jealous of something like that? I was getting in the way because I felt bad that she had to be that close to an old geezer whose breath smelled as bad as a dead skunk. I was there for her protection only. Amy was telling me a few months ago that she never really liked you that much. But I know deep down she frickin' hates you with every nerve she has. That's why when she heard about you wanting to marry her, she bolted. She's not going to marry some old man that doesn't care about her feelings, so just give it up, Matthew.
I can't just give it up, though. I already bought a brand new car, thinking that once I married Amy, I would be able to get my hands on Mark's money.
Huh? A brand new car?
It was a car that I have been wanting for a long time now. A high-end sports car. I bought that thing thinking I'd be getting Mark's money, and that car will be coming to the house soon, and I'll have to start paying for it. If I can't marry Amy soon, then I'm going to be in huge trouble.
Jesus Christ, you really are such a mess. I was already livid thinking about the fact that you divorced me wanting to marry your little brother's wife right after he died. But then you went ahead and bought a brand new car thinking that you'd be able to get your hands on your brother's money too? What the actual hell, Matthew? And a high-end sports car of all things? That's not the kind of car a man that was just saying he'd marry her to help support her and her kids would be buying. Well, thank God that in the end she got away from you before you could actually inflict any damage.
But that car is my dream car. I have dreamed and dreamed and dreamed about being the owner of a car like that. I had to give up on it though, because with my income, I was never going to be able to get one. But then the chance came where I'd be able to get that kind of money. Of course I'd buy the car right off the bat, thinking that his money was mine.
Unbelievable. What kind of shameless thing are you again? Don't start telling me you're a man, because you sure as hell aren't. If by a 1 in a million chance, no, wait. If by a 1 in a billion chance you were able to marry Amy, there is no way she'd just let you use all that money from Mark on yourself. That money is meant to help her care for herself and her kids' futures.
But if we got married, then it would become both the husband and wife's money, right?
Would you shut the hell up, dude? You are talking so much crap right now that I wouldn't be surprised if you always took craps out of your mouth. Amy will never, ever marry a thing like you, and Mark's money is never going to be yours. That's the reality, you dumbass. Understood?
Huh? Then what am I gonna do about this car? I already had to give you half of my savings in the divorce, so I barely have anything left. I don't even have the money right now to get a loan or anything to help pay it off.
You were the idiot that went and bought the thing, so pay for it, all right? The only other option is to try canceling that purchase before the car arrives. Honestly, I don't care what has to happen because we are divorced now and you are a nobody to me.
Don't say something like that, Bailey. Hey, alright, I'll give up on trying to chase Amy. But that means I want you back. We don't even have to have any kids. Please come back and marry me one more time.
Excuse me? You think that after all the crap you've said, after all the crap you've done, and after all those things you've made very obvious about your toxic behavior, that I'd ever want to go back to you? You just said you understood, but I think you've only gone farther away from understanding anything. No frickin' thanks. I don't think anyone should have to marry something like you, Matthew.
Why would you say something like that? I'm in huge trouble right now. Please help me. I was stupid for wanting a divorce from you. I admit that. Please, Bailey, come back to me.
You don't have to admit something that's very obvious. The fact that you don't even feel any form of shame for all of this is what makes you a monster. Thank God that divorce happened when it did. You have nothing to do with me anymore, so never talk to me again. Bye forever, asshole. After I finished talking to him, Matthew must have been super desperate because he continued to try and find Amy to get that money Mark left behind. At the same time as all of that, though, he was still sending me texts asking me to go back to him. I was trying my best to just ignore all the notifications that kept going off, but at one point I just lost it. So in the end, I blocked his number, and ever since then, the only person I communicate with is Amy. I later learned that during that whole chase after Amy, Matthew never tried to cancel the purchase. And by the time he did realize it was hopeless and went to cancel the purchase, it was too late and the car was already there. He didn't even have the money to make the second payment on the car, so before he could even try riding it around, he had to return it. But even with the return, he still had a decent amount of money to pay for the shipping and construction of the car, so he was still in debt. As for Matthew's mom, she not only lost Amy, but both of the grandkids she had too. And on top of that, her husband started to realize that he wasn't as screwed up as his wife and son, and this led to him leaving the house. She was so shocked by all that had happened that she started to hide away in her house, which has led to her going a little crazy due to all the stress and lack of contact with anyone. I guess this is how things will end for two of the most disgusting people this planet has ever witnessed. After the divorce, I ended up moving closer to my place of work. And while I work and treat myself to the life of being happily single, I go over to see Amy and her kids while helping her around the house a little. At first, things looked a bit tough for Amy and the kids, as it really started to sink in that Mark was gone, and the rest of his family too. But after some time with me and her family, her and her kids made it past that sadness, and are living life like champions that survived the monsters in their arena. I'm sure that Mark, looking down from heaven at Amy and his kids, feels a whole lot better now as well.
Thank you for watching. Please subscribe and hit the like button. See you next time.